The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On November 6th, the StarCityGames.com Open Series hits Boston, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $10,000 in cash prizes, at least 8 players qualifying for the 2010 StarCityGames.com Invitational in Richmond, live coverage on the StarCityGames.com website, tons of side events, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Boston, and we'll see you there.
This is Cedric Phillips.
And this is Conrad Kolos.
Welcome to the Magic Show.
Judge!
There's no way you're airing that.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. This week we're back with the biggest independent tournament series on the planet, getting bigger and better than ever, along with a few words for our friend Mr. Mind Sculptor. Let's go! So this past Monday, we announced the next year's Open Series for 2011. Oh man, it's just going to be so sick. Let's count the ways. First, we upped the standard payout to a whopping $6,400 per event. Now, what does this mean? It's not a 5K. Yes, I know you like calling it a 5K because that was the original term. This is a lesson in what marketing folks call branding. You want to change the gaming vernacular? Good luck. You know, it's like those guys who still call standard Type 2. Yeah. You know, those who are still playing spells instead of casting spells, those whose creatures are coming into play instead of entering the battlefield, and so on. Though StarCityGames.com has been giving out $1,500 per standard open since July, people insist on that silly moniker. So let's get this straight. Those 5Ks you see advertised, they pay out $5,000. The Open Series pays out $6,400 for Standard and $5,800 for Legacy. That's nowhere close to 5K on either side of the equation. So for those looking for a 2-syllable word to call them, Open. SCG Opens, Boston Open, whatever, it's all good. All I'm saying, those who call their events 5Ks are only giving you $5,000. The Open Series, we got you back with over $12,000 in prizes for Legacy and Standard alone, but you know what? That's not enough. Not enough. You know what I love to do? I love to draft. You know what we should have? Draft opens. So we did. Giving out a whopping $1,100 per event. Win yourself 2 drafts and take home $500, a slot at the next StarCityGames.com Invitational, and 10 open points. Oh yeah, those points things. Those were pretty useless last year, right? I mean, they gave you an invite to the Invitational and some buys there, but what was your open point total? I don't know. Was I qualified for the Invitational? I guess. I don't know. Only a few numbers really mattered. Well, that is no more. Allow me to show you something I've been working on for a while, the StarCityGames.com Players Club. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a Players Club, and it is sick. First up is 4 points for free sleeves at every open weekend. Now, I don't know about you, but free sleeves just for showing up and playing in a Standard and Legacy Open during the weekend, that's pretty sweet. This is something easily attainable, and I wanted the open grinders out there to get rewarded immediately. Levels 2 and 3 are similar, but provide equally awesome benefits. Free entry. Oh yeah. Save yourself $30 and then a whopping $60 with level 3 per weekend. That's amazing. This also introduces our level-based qualification for the Invitationals next year. We'll look at the Invitationals later, which will now feature Open Series points in 2011. Anyway, levels 4 and 5 are also similar but equally powerful. Buys. Yeah, if you haven't enjoyed the goodness of buys before, let me introduce you. This is a fantastic perk for those fortunate enough to get them and gives you a huge head start on the field. This is also called random deck insurance. You know the kind, protecting you from the random blowouts that appear in round 1 or round 2 because somebody took their mirror deck or your buddy's homebrew white weenie rocking 4X Silvercoat Lion and the like. While those decks are super fun and neato, don't get me wrong, when you've invested hundreds of your dollars in Jace the Mind Sculptors and World Lake Manlands and Molten Tail Masticores or whatever, the last thing you want to do is get mana screwed and start 0-1 because you weren't ready for the Infect homebrew. So let's get trucking. Level 6 is where the Players Club goes from serious to serious business. Yes, starting with this level, we actually give you cash for showing up. $100, all yours, free and clear, just for coming. How sick is that? All of those costs it takes to get to the venue, the gas, the hotel room split, the meals, that stuff adds up. $100 goes a long way in shoring up your travel costs. But what's better than $100? $250. Yeah, level 7 members get the goodness that few others enjoy. The ability to come out ahead in expenses, particularly if you do well in the tournament. Can you imagine winning an open when you got paid $250 just to show up that weekend and play? This is called living the dream, folks, but the dream ain't over yet because we got one more level. And needless to say, we here at Star City Games tried our best to give you something impressive and drool-worthy. I think we found it. Can you say a full playset of new standard sets upon each release? Oh yeah, that's a full playset of new standard sets each release! Arriving at your house free? Just because you're awesome and you rock the StarCityGames.com Open Series like no other. Those who reach level 8 are of the highest caliber and now have the most badass prize to go along with it. So when does this Players Club kick in? First, the cutoff for 2011, where we lock your level in place, is after this weekend's Boston Open. If you are in Boston, get yourself to the Open. Get every point you can, level up, and get some sick benefits for 2011 before your points reset to 0 and you have to earn them back again. So when do these benefits kick in? At the Richmond Open, featuring the Invitational on December 3rd. Here are the rest of the dates for Season 1 in both Invitationals in 2011. Now remember, those Invitational weekends are technically StarCityGames.com Open weekends featuring the Invitational. This means even if you don't qualify for the Invitational, there are grinders that can get you in, and if that doesn't get you there, there is still a Standard Open, a Legacy Open, and 2 Draft Opens on Sunday at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. to sate your appetite for Magic action. Does this mean we're giving out more than 60 grand in one weekend? And we're doing that twice next year? Oh, you better believe it. And next year, the Invitational is not only giving out cash, it gives out points as well. Yes, you'll be able to earn points while slinging spells at the Envy next year. Note that this year's Invitational will not earn you points, just the 2011 ones. That said, this is the breakout for next year's Invitational payout and points rewards. And you thought the epic Bertoncini versus Weinberg battle was big this year. Just wait until the suspense builds for the next year's second Invitational in Charlotte, North Carolina. Somebody is getting a set of Power 9 this year and next year for being Player of the Year. So for those ready to start battling, here is your schedule for Season 1 of the 2011 Open Series. Now remember, this is Season 1. There are still 12 to 15 more dates to be announced. So for those asking about the West Coast, more Midwest dates, and so on, I assure you, we haven't forgotten about you guys, and we'll be back that way in the latter half of the year. So that's it. Man, what a sick series. This is the #1, not close, independent tournament series on the planet, and it's all thanks to you guys. I hope you guys dig the Open Series as much as we do running it. That said, how about some Magic? Let's talk Jace the Mind Sculptor for a moment. Now, this guy, I think we need to start out with some history. You see, I was there at Pro Tour San Diego, and I asked the pros there about him. Remember, this sequence is a little tainted by the overwhelming presence of Jund at the time.
Totally overrated. Basically, it's just too slow when the format has 1 mana 3/3s and 2 mana 4/4s and all these ridiculous cards. You tap out on turn 4 to cast that card, and it's really powerful, sure, but you get like lightning.
Probably up there as one of the most overrated cards.
I actually don't think the card's very good. I like the other Jace more. If I played a blue deck, I would have played that.
I tested more Jace decks than anything else for this Pro Tour. To my great chagrin, I did not feel that it was something I could play, even though I wanted to. I think it's going to be definitely a format-defining card in Type 2. I mean, maybe now isn't the time, or maybe people haven't found the right shell. Maybe I didn't find the right shell, but it's going to be somewhere.
I don't like it. I don't like the decks that run it. I think the decks that people played in are bad. At FNM, it'll be great. People play bad around it, but I don't like the card.
Overrated a little bit. It's definitely like a $30, $40 card or whatever, but like 60 or higher is just like way too much. It's not that good. It's like really good when you're even or slightly ahead, but when you're behind, it's just like not that good, and it's not gonna really save you ever, you know?
Jace is a pretty ridiculous card, although I think the way that the standard format works out right now, it's actually pretty well contained. Like Blightning and Bloodbraid Elf are both, you know, really powerful cards that are, you know, already in a bunch of decks that happen to be very good, you know, fighting Jace. It's a card that allows blue control decks to just have a way to just take control of the game. You know, it's not dealt with pretty much immediately. You know, the game just gets completely out of hand.
It's really good. We were getting closer and closer to Jace Beleren being my favorite card, and then they printed a better one, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna love this thing.
Jace is not, That's not what I want to be doing. I want to be casting Teachings. Card's sweet.
So, yeah, some serious laughs are to be had there. I certainly understand it. The pros dismiss Lotus Cobra as well, a card that is helping define the format not quite as much as Jace, but even the best can be wrong. So let's look at some stats. 50% of the decks, a total of 14 Jace the Mind Sculptor, showed up in the top 8 of the StarCityGames.com Open in Nashville. However, in Charlotte, it gets completely silly. Every deck but 2 had Jace the Mind Sculptor in it, and one of those, the Pyromancer Ascension deck, had Jace Beleren. Why? Probably to fight the endless copies of Jace the Mind Sculptor he faced throughout the day. Expanded to the top 16, 10 of the top 16 had Jace the Mind Sculptor in it. Now, what does this mean? It means that Jace the Mind Sculptor is the best card in Standard. It's not close. But how do we fight it? Well, many of our old tools are no more. One option is to run the Pyromancer Ascension deck, which is super cheap and has some good game, but another option is to just bash with guys. The Kuldotha Red deck, which I had originally named Metal Red, has been mostly forgotten about, except by the guy who created it. He didn't forget it. After winning states with the deck, he took it to Charlotte and blazed all the way to second place. While it has a serious weakness to Pyroclasm, what fast aggro deck doesn't? Regardless, I think we currently have the decks to beat, and they're all filled with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Now, what I'm not doing is suggesting we ban Jace the Mind Sculptor. This is just as silly as those wanting to ban Bloodbraid Elf last season. I mean, something has to be the best, guys. Just because something's good, it doesn't mean you ban it. What it means is you fight it on a different axis. You know what stops Jace dead? Mimic Vat and Vampire Hexmage? What else? Vengevine's pretty good, but people have realized that Vengevine and Jace the Mind Sculptor are a fine combination as well. What can I say? He's one of the best cards ever printed. He sees play in every format. We got another year to look at his smug mug and Standard along with his incredible price tag. But you know what the real tragedy of Jace the Mind Sculptor is? The fact that every other blue planeswalker ever created from this point on will seem unexciting in comparison. I mean, they just juiced this guy beyond all recognition. A free Brainstorm? Seriously? An ultimate that wins the game pretty much every time, guaranteed not close? Sure, that's awesome for Nicol Bolas that costs a whopping 8 mana, but 4 mana Jace? Hell, as it turns out, a 4 mana sorcery speed Brainstorm is more than good enough for Standard, even if he's killed immediately after using that ability. So what's the answer here? There is no answer. This is simply a shift in the game that we will deal with and move on. By the time next fall rolls around, we'll be tired of seeing him rule the top tables and welcome our new Planeswalker overlords, whatever they may be. Will Koth eventually push him off the pedestal? Is Gideon good enough to see a comeback? Will anyone ever break Elspeth? Is Venser good enough? How will you break through the Jace the Mind Sculptor wall? I'll keep an eye on things as the StarCityGames.com Open Series hits Boston this week. Again, your 2011 Players Club levels lock in after this event, so don't miss it. And good luck to those still in the Player of the Year race as it culminates this weekend. It looks to be a Weinberg versus Bertoncini battle, but Adam Kai could pull an incredible upset to take the title in a full set of Power 9. Join us on StarCityGames.com this weekend for full coverage, and I'll be back next week with more goodies. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
Like the fatties.